To feel so muzzled that you have to rip off your pearls and eat them at the dinner table in front of your husband that's like not listening to you. That is what it feels like sometimes in heightened situations. I think I just watched like the available documentaries. I sort of just watched them in succession and I sort of blew through The Crown in 3 days. Yeah, she's ironically a very unknowable figure, which is her plight. I think all she wanted was to sort of be available, and she was, and that was kind of what is beautiful about her. Obviously, like her ability to connect and bridge gaps and bring other people together, and like her light feels incredible, and she exudes it. Like she can't stop that, even when she's not well. In pictures where she's like clearly, she wears her heart on her sleeve, or she wore her heart on her sleeve completely. Like there's never a time where she's not displaying how she's feeling, even if she's not saying it. It was crazy to sift through a bunch of material and see like so many conflicting perspectives and kind of trying to formulate a personal feeling that felt distinct, knowing that we could never do it perfectly correctly. There is no right way to do this here. When she decides to eat her entire pearl necklace out of her pea soup, I definitely was like, this is wacky. She's in such trauma during these projected days. You know, we're definitely not saying that Diana was crazy. When you're amidst trauma, you feel like you're going crazy. If you can't like know anything, if the truth is so ambiguous and so twisted and you're so gaslit, you feel like you're going a bit nuts. And the only way to convey that is like, to feel so muzzled that you have to rip off your pearls and eat them at the dinner table in front of your husband that's like not listening to you. That is what it feels like sometimes in heightened situations. And it's cool, movies allow you to lean into those inner feelings, like to externalize an inner life. Cinema is the way to do it. I mean, you can fantasize and sort of be like, no, this is what it felt like in here. I guess like if you step outside of it, it's hard to compare because like I'm not supposed to do anything. I'm not like upholding ideals of a whole nation. The expectations are less daunting. I do understand the feeling of people wanting you not to be someone that you're not, but sort of expecting you to be a person that really just exists in their brain. I'm a living, breathing person that's like learning every day, and I don't like, how could I disappoint a person? You know what I mean? It's like, why would you have certain expectations of an actress that you don't know? So that's always kind of tripped me out. I'm sure she had a very different experience, which is I don't want to be someone who's setting an example, or at least in the way that sort of upholds ideals that she finds false. I think it was really impossible for her to lie. She's just felt like an incredibly honest person. And I know it might sound weird to people because her ways of communicating were sideways. She was pretty muzzled. She wasn't allowed to just say, hey, I don't feel good. And I am having, you know, struggling with food, struggling with my body, struggling with my mind. Like, I feel alone. But she was saying it. You know, people have found her to be fairly manipulative and that she knew what she was doing with the press, and she was an attention-seeking person that then sort of was like demure and like complained about it. I think it was such a complicated place to live. I think she was a combination of things that don't necessarily go hand in hand. And it was interesting to sort of sift through the ways in which she was reaching out, because they weren't always straight up. It was really hard. It was like really tiring. Super muscular. Like I have such a different tonal quality, and not even just sonically, energetically, everything about my like weight is different. Like she opens her mouth very wide. She's very open, breathy. It took like 4 months, and you know, I tried to like nail the accent, but primarily I just tried to like absorb her and just be really emotionally affected by her, and keep it light and know that my coach was like gonna watch for any glaring mistakes, but that like what was kind of more important, that it felt lived in and kind of alive and real. And so luckily I had the time. You just sort of trust process. Every attempt at making a movie is extremely personal. I can't be Diana Spencer. I am very much myself, and I think that my curiosities and desires are embedded in the film, and that is personal. It's our take on it. And he leaned so far into the surreality in the movie, and I think it's kind of the only way to not traipse on kind of hollowed ground. We're definitely not proclaiming to know anything, but dreaming about her and sort of wondering what it felt like from the inside and allowing it to submerge into fantasy and kind of have it have such a first-person perspective that you can kind of do a long tone poem about her versus like trying to teach people anything. We're not answering any questions, we're just asking a lot of questions. In like the longer format interviews, people are like, so tell us your feelings about the monarchy and whether or not it should exist and who is the bad guy and who is the good guy and what can we do to fix it all? I'm like, I have no idea. And the movie doesn't either. It makes no attempt at that. So yeah, I think directionally, Pablo was really brilliant and really bold. And for anyone who goes like, whatever, this is an opportunity to catch someone up, there's no room for that because we're not proclaiming to know anything.